13 episodes into Gozyuger, and we're finally getting a Ryugi-focused episode, because ever since Ryugi first made their appearance, they've had a couple of moments here and there, but they haven't had a solid focus episode. We learned that his dad was a doctor in one of the episodes. It was sort of a passing comment that was brought up, but we still don't know a lot about this guy apart from him worshipping Tegasword, and it looks like we're setting up a brand new two-parter where we're going to learn more about this guy's backstory. So, episode 13 gets right into the nitty-gritty right away with a civilian getting turned into a monster, a manners monsters, and if you break any of the manners or the etiquettes, then you have this heavy chain around you, and Horo gets caught with it. So Horo, because he's a bit of a delinquent, his chain is getting heavier and heavier. But we meet one of the brand new Universal Warriors, and that is Ryugi's maid, known as Shoko. And Shoko, I believe, is played by someone from Ultraman Z. I watched a little bit of Ultraman Z when the dub was airing, but I didn't finish it. But I have to go back and watch it eventually. Now, one of the things we do learn with Shoko is that she's been a maid for generations with Ryugi's family, and her mission within this two-parter is to bring him back home because he's run away from home. He doesn't want to have anything to do with his family, which is probably going to be answered in next week's episode where we learn more about that. But also, she has the powers of Red Racer, or I'm just going to call it Turbo Red because I'm so familiar with that suit from being from Power Rangers Turbo. So I know people say you should call it what it's called in the Sentai, but look, that suit, I'm always going to associate that with Power Rangers Turbo. I know it's Car Ranger Red or Racer Red, whatever you want to call it, but I'm going to call it Turbo Red in this reviews because with her powers, with her ring powers, she has the power of stopping. So she blows her whistle and she can stop people for a few seconds. She's essentially like Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but a maid. But she's on a mission to bring Ryugi back home, but we have this big event between the versus battle with the monster between Horo, Ryugi, and the Manners monsters, where it's sort of these different rounds where they have to do different elegant things, and it's sort of a challenge that they have to do. And of course, Horo is like terrible at using manners and stuff like that. He's failing everything, so his chain keeps getting heavier and heavier. And eventually, the maid joins the battle in the end because they have to fight the monster of the week, but they can only fight them using manners. So she gets the chain put on her as well. And seeing the red turbo outfit in like high HD, high quality was really freaking awesome to see. I know it's made a few appearances here and there in Gozyuger and probably in a couple of like legendary battles where they get the suits together. But seeing the suit here with the stunts and the special effects they can do with the Red Racer suit or the Turbo Red suit is really freaking cool. Because there's this one scene where she's using the sword and she pulls like the back of the handle of the sword, and that makes it pop out. And I don't know if they ever did that in Power Rangers Turbo or the Sentai. I never watched Car Ranger all the way through. I think I watched 10 episodes of it, but I've seen bits and pieces here and there for videos I had to do research on. But that was really cool to see, and I do like the special effects we get when they sort of use the racing effect with her being on the car. Now, there's another thing going on with this episode is you've got Bouquet who's still obsessed with Byakuya, and while she's admiring her shrine, she's admiring her Byakuya shrine, you've got Kyun watching her, and he soon pieces it together by looking at the shrine by realizing, wait a minute, that's Gozu Leon. She doesn't know. And there's almost a moment where it looks like he's going to tell her, but he doesn't. So it looks like he's going to be saving that reveal for a huge moment. But I get the feeling that Bouquet will probably discover Byakuya's identity on her own, because I feel like that maybe that if someone does tell her, that's going to be a good motive for her moving forward, or it could be something completely different. But that was an interesting note that you had Kyun knowing that Bouquet doesn't know the identity of Gozu Leon, or Byakuya in general, doesn't know it's the same person, which is the reveal I'm waiting for, and when it happens, I'm sure chaos is going to ensue. So, we also have the appearance of a brand new Bell person, where it's a maid as well. They're pretty cool, I guess. I like having the generals or the grunts with personalities. Speaking of generals that I keep forgetting about, Shining Cake and Sweet Cake, whatever they're called. Shining Knife and Sweet Cake, whatever the fuck they're called. They barely appear, I forget their names, but they're in this episode. But Sumino is able to get the Ginga Red or the Lost Galaxy ring from them, so we'll be seeing that making an appearance in next week's episode, judging by the trailer. But they're able to defeat the monster by giving it a good old beatdown. But one of the things that does manage to defeat the monster in the manners contest is when the monster needs to escape, he doesn't have any business cards to give them, but Ryugi says, "Oh, fighting you was such an honor," and they'll always remember that, and that sort of makes the monster realize he's been beat by those manners and that etiquette in the fight. So that's the monster of the week defeated. So, like I said, this is setting up for a two-parter where the big cliffhanger in this week's episode is where Shoko is determined to bring Ryugi back home. And Ryugi's like, "Nah, fuck that shit. I'm never going back home. I don't want to go back home." And she's like, "But you have to. It's my mission." And she soon ends up getting, I guess, corrupted in a way by her determination. It's hard to say what it is, but she transforms into a totally different form where it's called the Berserker Red Champion or Champion Red. She basically turns into a delinquent where she's got the really long coat, the bat, and she's totally got a different getup on her right now. And it's a really cool form change that she gets. Like, it's really different from what we usually see, and it's a really nice addition that they make it work with the Turbo Red Ranger outfit that we have going on here. It's probably going to be the thumbnail, even though it's like the big spoiler at the end of this week's episode, but I'm putting this review out a little bit late, so I might do that. You never know. But it looks like she's corrupted into this berserker form, and we'll see where that goes next week as we learn more about Ryugi in the following next week's episode. So it looks like we're setting up for another two-parter in this episode, and that's what I like. And finally, Ryugi is finally getting some character moment. He's finally getting some development because he hasn't had any focus episodes ever since he first appeared. He had his debut episode. He's had a few scenes here and there, a few moments here and there. But now we're finally learning a little bit more about his backstory, and that's great because this guy has been kind of a mystery where he's still the only one that we don't know a lot about him. And I'm glad we're actually getting that focus on him and his family, and it's definitely going to continue on as the show goes on moving forward. But yeah, once again, Gozyuger episode 13 was really great, and I can't wait to see where the show is going to go moving forward from here. So with that said, I'll catch you guys later in the next video. Peace out, take care, and bye.